So as we move along and without further delay, our first guest speaker will be Principal Heidi Keegan from Peace River Elementary School. Well, welcome, Heidi.
You just stand here or up or whatever you're more comfortable with.
All right, good morning. You know, Christy last week mentioned, she said, oh, I know it's spring break is coming up for you. Would you be available to tell a story, a shoe story from the school? And I said, of course, Christy. Absolutely. After 18 years at this together, I said, of course. I've had the wonderful opportunity of working in 8 of the elementary schools. But even more importantly, I was born and raised right here in Charlotte County. So the stories of the shoes actually would be directly related to me at that time. The oldest of 5 children and a child of poverty, I have my own stories about shoes. So shoes are very powerful. Even today, this morning, I thought, what shoes am I going to wear with that dress? And now that I'm wearing these shoes, you're looking at the shoes, and you're starting to think about your own shoes and looking at other people's shoes. And really, choosing of shoes doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But when you think about it, when you go on a trip, I'm going next weekend, I have to stand in front of the suitcase and think, what shoes am I going to take? I have the privilege, I'll be at Capitol Hill, so I thought maybe not wearing heels to walk there. But you know you want heels when you're in there. Now, shoes are very diverse, and they're as diverse as our students are. All kinds of shoes. Now, when I think back to my childhood, jellies, and of course, shiny patent leather shoes, sneakers, canvas, sandals, flip-flops, basketball shoes, football or soccer cleats, Heelys with wheels, if you know about those, slides, Velcro, and of course, light-up shoes, the favorite. So, in these shoes are lots of opportunities for choice. And at the public school system, you have so many children with great needs. And some of the needs may be children that come to the school for the very first time to our area from surrounding communities or maybe even out of the country. And when they show up at your doorstep and say, what do we need to start school tomorrow? A parent can say, we don't have shoes. And thanks to Christy and Sunrise Kiwanis, I can say, we do. Over the years, working in all of the schools, I always knew I could count on calling on her. And at some point, she would call on me and said, Heidi, I know you're at a year-round school that starts in July, and I know you need the shoes first. Who will be there to get them? And so Christy and her friends would come with bags and bags and bags of shoes of all sizes, shapes, and colors. At Charlotte County Public Schools, we require closed-toed sneakers for safety for playgrounds and PE. But shoes offer another kind of safety as well. I'd like to give you a brief story about a 3rd grade boy from a neighboring district who joined us at our school this year. He had suffered quite a great amount of trauma, tragic loss, after Hurricane Ian and separation from family members. It had affected his mental health, and he struggled to remain in class and to be able to focus on classwork. He often eloped or ran away from the classroom, and I could find him circling around the office, needing an adult for supervision. One day he wandered through the office, and he happened to walk by the shoes. And he stopped for just a moment and noticed the brightest blue shoes you could ever possibly imagine. In fact, much like the Kiwanis shirt you're wearing right there. Now, these particular shoes were not his size, but he was quite interested in them. And I think in my early years as an educator, I would have looked down and said, you don't need those shoes. Your shoes are fine. We need to have those shoes for somebody else. And that's operating from that mentality of scarcity. But because of your generosity and kindness, we don't have to operate that way anymore. There are plenty of shoes to go around. And so when that little boy asked for the pair of shoes, and there wasn't the size he needed, we went right to the shoe closet or Panther Pantry to find the size that did fit him. And he was quite proud and able to return back to class. Now, some teachers may be upset with me and think, you just rewarded that child for eloping from the classroom. And I thought I was able to get that child back to the classroom, and not myself, but through your generosity. The occurrence happened again later in the week, but this time when he circled the office and went for the shoes, it was not for himself, but for his little kindergarten sister, who struggled to come into school each day in the lobby, crying and tantruming, not wanting to be separated from her father and the trauma that she had experienced. So on this particular day, this young man went and chose his sister a pair of shoes. Well, he didn't choose her the right shoes. So the little girl had to come and choose her own pair of shoes. But she was quite proud, to which she shared with her older sister, who was in a middle school, that we had shoes at our school. She had shoes at her school as well, because Kiwanis does offer them all the way up through those high school ages. And we were able to provide the older 6th grade student with shoes as well in the family. Now, shoes are more than just comfort and safety on your feet. This is about choice and control. Control and choice that maybe children don't have elsewhere. But to choose your own shoes is a great deal. When I started school, as a child of poverty, I always had one brand new pair of shoes. And I could look forward to one more pair later in the year at Christmas. And our students will come each day knowing that they have a pair of shoes at school if they can't find the missing one in the morning at their home. So I always know I can call on Christy and Sunrise Kiwanis if I do have a need. And even last week she said, Heidi, what sizes are you short? What is it that you need? To which she received an email about that. And I think about, even with those shoes, if you know the story, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie by Laura Numeroff, that one need begets another, and we're able to fill that need. So years and years ago, when we started with shoes, we then knew if you needed shoes, you're going to need socks. If you need socks, you're also going to need underwear. So after shoes, socks, and underwear, perhaps then you need the school uniform. And after that, there are a couple cold days here in Florida, so you're going to need a jacket. And of course, school supplies are always in need. And then we opened our shoe closet to become the Panther Pantry, which also had food. So starting with a pair of shoes, we have now cared fully for a child and their family in our school system at many of our schools. So I truly want to say to Christy and Sunrise Kiwanis, I want to thank you from the bottom of my soul for providing choice, individuality, ownership, comfort, safety, and love. Thank you for the shoes.